the XRP Defense Force. All right, let's get going because the XRP market is going to be super interesting. Additionally, it mentions that you will be able to trade regulated money efficiently with CME Group beginning on May 19. The correct answer is yes, everyone. A leading derivatives trading business, Brad Garlinghouse, is now discussing it. For several reasons, this has been pending for quite some time. Without further ado, let's jump into that film because it will wow you. It is very incredible to consider the possibility that XRP Ripple coin could hit $13,000 within a few days. Ben Bale tweeted, maybe not in a good way, that XRP has been getting a lot of attention as of late, which comes as the SEC gets ready for a major event in the history of cryptocurrencies. Ripple is the shining star in XRP contracts. Even if most of you have never heard of CME Group, let's get you up to speed. You will be able to adjust the size of your area with more precision and freedom, and these futures will be available in both huge and small contracts. Are you interested in learning more about CME Group? The most extensive and varied is CME Group. It is the biggest futures market in the world, which is something I should have mentioned before. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange is one of the major financial derivatives exchanges run by this Chicago, Illinois-based company. The Chicago Trade, the New York Mercantile Exchange, and a commodity exchange known as CME Group make it easy for many people to trade futures, options, and other derivative transactions. Currency. At today's AY Crypto Summit, the newly appointed SEC head, Paul Atkins, will give a speech. It is not new that Ripple has been speculated about as a potential showstopper. Brett on X, a well-known market analyst, reports that Atkins plans to highlight XRP and Ripple as instances of open regulations and ethical innovation. When you think about it in terms of a long-running lawsuit has been filed against the company by the SEC. The tone has certainly shifted as a boss, and what was formerly seen as an illustration of too controlling government might now be used as a template for how digital assets are assessed in the U.S. Atkins has hinted that the SEC may shift away from its previous enforcement-heavy approach and said that he thinks the agency is entering a new age. A variety of assets, including interest rates and stock market indices through these online platforms. Breaking news regarding cryptocurrencies, Forex, energy, crops, metals, the weather, and property. The CME Globex CME Group's electronic trading platform provides clients in 150 countries with access to global markets. This gives the company access to liquidity and exposure all day, every day. Supervises CME clearing, a market participants go to for reducing counterparty credit risk and making sure all trades go through. The statement claims that CME Group works with financial institutions that employ derivatives for investing, speculation, risk management, including banks, professional traders, asset managers, and hedge funds. Institutional and individual investors of various sizes keep an eye on XRP, and the world's largest and best derivatives company, CME Group, is also paying attention, even though it's been 4 years since I last mentioned it. It seems to cover 150 nations and has a ton of useful information. On top of that, you had this document in writing that was sent to you. This morning, the biggest futures market in the world, CME Group, announced that XRP futures will launch on May 19th. For corporations and powerful individuals, we will gauge the level of interest in these options. To earn money, we need to buy something worth buying, and when more money comes in, we want the price to go higher. May I also ask you to answer this question? Who would it be if Ripple or XRP could both join the CME Group? They can work with anybody if they can get back into the derivatives market, which is the biggest and most diverse in the world. Sure, I can show you how it looks like this, 250,000 XRP futures and 250 mini futures later, and it's still hovering around $5 or cents. The SEC began accepting applications for XRP and other tokens to be utilized as spot ETFs at the tail end of February, so it's clear why Smoke Dog made this public. Also, on May 22nd, Turcom will launch their newly certified 2x XRP ETF. The majority of individuals would consider pennies for their mini futures to be a substantial amount of money. We may need to move quickly, as the SEC is expected to evaluate the XRP spot application by that point. However, rest assured that all was well with the CME groups and the ETFs concurrently, so there is no need to be concerned. Sure, I'm ready to proceed. Ripple is quietly expanding, but no one in the banking industry is mentioning it. The lack of sound, according to Rosen, is not an issue. Complete digital asset infrastructure, including payment processing, custody, stable currency, and use cases for tokenization, is now available to banks and other financial institutions. From the time I had to convince banks to join a network to transmit money across borders 8 years ago, Ripple has been an incredible experience. This is a strategic move that completely alters the course of the game, not an indication of weakness. From a Ripple point of view, today has been quite intriguing. In my opinion, Micra has provided the necessary assurance to financial institutions over the last 18 months or so to join the blockchain and digital asset arena. And I am in charge of Europe. Consequently, some very innovative applications have emerged for it. Partnered with SocGen Forge, a top French bank. Finally, I'd like to mention that Ripple has been working with financial institutions to ensure better security in international payments and to assist them become ready to tokenize their assets. Concurrent creation of stable currencies is necessary in addition to their security, because these coins can easily change their worth on any chain they're a part of. Consequently, I think a few of these financial institutions will be interested in teaming up with Ripple or other similar organizations to develop a stable currency that can be used inside their own context. I think it will function on both the XRP and Ethereum networks, and they also want to make sure it works on the XRP LED. I can't wait for the summer because it's going to be so fun, since the XRP system is compatible with EVM and can import smart contracts. I believe they are interested in acquiring both of those. I anticipate that it will undergo a great deal of development activity. Actually, I believe this is the perfect moment. So stop procrastinating and start studying more. Just keep watching, because this is where the magic happens. Things will get interesting very soon. Pay close attention now. 2 ISOs are now in use by Deutsche Bank. Larger banks will likely follow suit first, but that's all right. They're well equipped and have plenty of staff to handle the situation. On the other hand, this might seem like much to smaller institutions. A smaller bank might employ several hundred people. Then digital asset owner Michael Arrington announced that a multinational business firm has charged $5,000, 0 cents, to deposit $100, 0 cents, into the accounts of several of these institutions, which employ hundreds of thousands of people throughout the globe.